What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to give my very early impressions on MultiVersus. Fired this game up yesterday, played it a bunch, and have some thoughts. Not a full-on review, but not everything has to be a review. I've seen some divided opinions online, okay? And even my own opinion, I got some divided opinions. I think in some ways this game is pretty good. In some ways, I'm pretty worried about it. And, in terms of the future, I think this game can have a future. I do. I think there's plenty of characters. It's got one of the deepest libraries I think you could ask for in terms of what could come. You could still have Harry Potter. You could still have the random one-offs of, like, Powerpuff Girls or Samurai Jack or, whatever. I mean, you can literally go as deep as you want. The game has a future as long as they don't mess it up on themselves, and we'll see if that actually ends up happening. So I got to be real, okay? In terms of my honest opinion, in terms of the gameplay itself, I really think it's kind of fun. I've seen a lot of complaints on how slow it is. It does feel slow. In fact, it feels much slower than the beta or alpha or whatever you called, back when they had it last. It definitely feels changed, and in some ways maybe for the better, some ways for the worse. I think for the gameplay, I'm enjoying myself. I mean, I can pick up a character like Superman and just really learn the moves rather quickly, go to somebody like Wonder Woman, do the same thing. I was telling a friend of mine this when we were playing actually together. The game feels easier and it feels more manageable in the gameplay category, not really anywhere else, but it feels easier in that department than a lot of other games. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's better or it's good. It fits me. It fits my playstyle. For MultiVersus, I think it's in this sweet spot of the Smash kind of clone, Nick All-Stars Brawl. You can look at PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, my favorite of the group, but I think it fits in okay in that group. Again, like, it's powered by the characters. It's powered by their moveset and not being too difficult to figure out. I think it has a place. So, I can't sit here and lie. I think in terms of the gameplay itself, I actually had a lot of fun, and it was easy to pick up. I started to, not master characters, but I started to get pretty good at my favorites. Like, I kind of rotated a Jason, Superman, Wonder Woman. That was kind of my rotation. I can play as the others, but those are my main three. And you can pick up one, play them, put them down, do the next one, and have a lot of fun with it. So I gotta say that is this game's greatest strength. I think the maps are pretty cool. There's not enough maps, I would say that, and that really does go into more of the negatives. One thing that I noticed immediately, I think the internet noticed immediately, how they rolled out these characters has to be studied in terms of how not to do it. I can't sit here and defend it. The rotation thing, I think, can work, but I feel the way they're doing it, not ideal. When you have, I think it's like 26 characters or something to launch, and you have maybe, like 7 to 9 that are playable, but a couple of those are on rotation, I feel like that's not the way you should do it. I feel like you need to have opened up the roster with more characters. I think you needed to have opened up the roster with more characters. Honestly, it's as simple as that. If you gave us 13, 14, 15, however many, like somewhere around the halfway point of characters that this game had, if you gave half of them to us to begin with, and then you also had a group on rotation, that's the way I think you do it, because the way it comes off right now is just greed, and I think that leads to, like, the worst part of this game. Well, the menus, I think, are atrocious. Now, I'm not really used to these kind of menus. I don't play the Fortnites of the world. I think a game like Fall Guys has made their menus absolutely disgusting in the last couple of years. I have no idea what's going on there. Games that are like this can get convoluted in a really bad way very quickly once they embrace that monetization system. And look, it's a free-to-play game. For a free-to-play game, what do you expect? Now, you can expect an okay amount, but of course you do have to expect that they have some sort of, monetization thing in there. But the way that the characters come off, the way that all the screens come off, the way that everything in this game really comes off, the multiple currencies, the store, the insane prices for some of these characters, which is always funny when Joker is actually the most expensive, I believe, of all the locked characters. It's a joke. It really comes off as greed. The thing is, and look, again, I don't have a ton of experience with these type of games. I would like that the game comes off not so greedy. You can have greed in your mind. You can have greed in the heart of the game, but you need to have it come off as in just enjoy the game. You're earning things. You always feel like you're earning things. And eventually you'll earn the characters, all that jazz. You want it to feel more natural, more accomplishment oriented. The way that this game does it is not like that. The first thing you see is, oh, 75% of the characters I can't play. Oh, you got to get them through the currency. Oh, well, there's 2 currencies, one of which is real world, our currency, our real world money. And, it's not necessarily cheap. And then the in-game currency, it's going to take a while, especially if you want to earn, I mean, God bless you if you want to earn all of them. But if you want to earn even just a couple of them, you're not going to get them like within a day or two. It's going to take, well, you might, but it's going to take you a while. You're going to have to play the game quite a bit. And I mentioned in the beginning, the game can have a future. It can, but this stuff really, I think, would hurt the future of this game. Because people aren't going to sit around, I think, and wait for this. They might come back, but people are not going to play this daily. In fact, I mean, like the Steam charts, right, which is a pretty good indicator because the game kind of blew up right the first time around. It didn't reach that number. Now, maybe it will, like maybe this weekend it'll get closer to it. But if it doesn't hit the peak of last time, a few years ago, that's not a great look. That's not a great start because you only imagine the number goes down from there. Now, again, can characters bring it back? They certainly can. But if how you unlock them is garbage and people can't unlock them, people will not come back. I can almost guarantee you that. So the game has a real tough decision to make. Besides, I think people just being flat out split on how the game plays in general. Honestly, again, I don't mind it. I think it's kind of fun. I'm enjoying it. There's not like these absolutely insane combos you would do in some other of these, but I think, again, it reaches a somewhat happy medium of having enough complexities, but also not being that complex, where just any average person can pick it up, read the move list a couple times, practice a little, play a little, pick it up. I feel like that's where this game actually shines the most, and it shines the most in the characters. But the issue is so many characters are locked, the currency, the progression, the menus, all that stuff, very bad. Like on the other side of things, there's some atrocities going on in this game. So I don't know, like it's free to play. I don't know if I would say I recommend it. It really depends on you, the player, of what kind of fighting or like brawler type games you play. It aligns with those, Smash Bros or All Stars or things like that. It definitely feels, I mean, that's the type of game that it is versus the Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. But, in terms of, again, the floatiness and the heaviness and the slowness of the game, that might drive people away. So, going to be interesting because for me, I can see it as something that I pick up and play maybe a couple rounds a day, get the login bonus, come back when there's the characters, and it's already fit into that group for me, where I'll come back when there's something worthwhile. Maybe right now I'll play it daily, but definitely not long term. But, again, with these upcoming characters, number one, they got to come fast. They cannot be taking months to put characters into this game. Also, while I don't care much about this, because, again, I'm not like a super heavily invested person in this game, I believe one of the things that the pro players were saying back originally is the game needs the ranked mode, and when it first came out in the early access, it didn't have it. It still doesn't have it. It still does not have ranked mode. So this is the full release, so I don't know why they did that. And I've seen a lot of people online say this feels more like a beta than the beta did. And I mean, I don't even know what you would call that, if it was early access, if it was a beta. I have seen that. And again, even just on quick observation from that ranked thing, while I wouldn't play it because I think I would get just trampled on, I think that's important to people. I've seen big YouTubers talk about it. Their communities talk about it. It wasn't in it originally, and it still isn't in it now. So, like, what did they do during the a year and a half hiatus? Like, where were they? So, things like that, I think, can sink this game very, very quickly to more people than just me. Me, I'll stick around here and there. If the characters aren't that ridiculous to unlock, you bring me the Powerpuff Girls, of course, I'm going to come back, but, it's going to be sparingly. But you know what? I'm not 100% the target audience, right? Like there's people that they want more than me, and you might be pissing them off much more than you're making me mad, right? So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.